to another episode of our podcast that we are now rebranding to Built because I think the pursuit of everything confused people.
Also, right, like builder.
Right, builder, build, like the little play on words.
Right.
You get it?
So many.
So today it's just me and Cozi. We're going to talk a little bit about starting and building a business, doing some coaching because I get to coach Cozi in her mental health issues all the time.
Not well. You're not nice about it. Okay, so I have some questions.
I can't wait.
Since we're on the topic of like building,
Yeah.
So you've built homes.
A few.
Okay. You've built a company.
Yes.
You're building a brand.
Yes.
What is the common thread, I guess, in how you build things?
I do enjoy building things from scratch, from starting, working in the government for a little bit and working for other companies. I think that building something yourself is more fun, coming up with an idea and coming up with the framework and all of that. And it's funny how the manifesting really works. Like I used to think, oh, what if I could build, 20 houses? And then even manifesting you working with us and all of that kind of stuff to where that really plays to be able to start from scratch and build it from the ground up.
And it's almost like maybe your creative outlet.
It is my only creative outlet because I'm not a creative person. I play no musical instruments. I cannot draw. I can barely write. I can't spell.
I don't think that.
Those are my two bugaboos.
No creativity.
I do think learning, starting a business from scratch and then into building a business, building a team, and then building a brand are three completely different things.
Yeah.
That's what I think that we're a little different is I understand the difference in all three categories. Building a business, a lot of people build houses. A lot of people sell real estate. What a lot of builders don't understand is that we're building a brand to where you can build 5 houses, you can build 10 and build a good business. Getting up into the higher numbers and volume that we're looking to do, then you're building a brand where people recognize you as what you do. First, they know you as a builder, then they know you. Then they know you as a real estate agent, and then there's.
You're so stupid. Okay, a backstory on this. You probably have never heard of it, but there is I guess we might as well be real on our podcast.
We can always edit as well.
No, it's pretty funny. So there is when we were kids, a book came out, and it was the autobiography of a gang member. And that was his.
That was my favorite book.
And that was his thing. He's like, first you make like a name for yourself, then you make it a name for yourself, and like you're set, right? And then it's like, then you're either known.
You're a child of the 90s.
It's the same concept as building a business. Being a gang member and building a business, a lot of fun.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Right when he started saying it, could you see me being like, oh god?
But it does play. Like first you have to build up your credibility. Then you have to, build up your business. Then you start building up other people, and then you
start taking your name on walls.
It's the same thing as putting your signs up. So let's move on.
If you want to think back.
It's a deep question. I think you have them all the time. I don't think there's just one. I think, when the market's slow, when you're, things aren't selling, budgets are coming in over cost, expected budgets. And then you would also have a year, and probably a year, because more volume means more employees. Then you're taking on your employees' stress and their issues. And there's I think that you have those probably once a month that you're raw and want to stop. But
how do you push through it?
You just right foot, left foot. We've talked about it so many times that you just have to keep going. I'm not built to not expand. We always have to be expanding. We always have to be pushing forward. And that's the fun part of it for me.
Well, and we actually had this conversation this morning about like the weird competitive thing.
Right.
Right. So we had a conversation of there comes a point like with money to where like your bills are paid, you're comfortable. Money's not really why you're going to be pushing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, but then it's like, what pushes you after that? After you're comfortable and you're living a decent life, right? You're not like, what pushes you to keep?
Yeah, I heard in the podcast once, like, it's not, once you're able to like buy dinner for everybody all the time, then you don't really, your bills are paid. You don't worry about who's going to pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I won't let people pay the bill. Like, I'm just not doing that.
Bullshit. With me,
I say
like, hey, look my wallet.
I say people. I've been buying new shit for too long. But
you're gonna be like, oh, my wallet's in the truck.
there's nothing worse than going to dinner and everyone's like, let's split the bill. Let's do that stupid stuff. But once your bills are paid, once your car payment's paid, your house payment's paid, your kids are taken care of. For me, money's not the object. I'm not a toy guy. I don't toys. All of that. The money is just how you keep score. That's how if you're winning.
So what is it that pushes you then?
Oh, it's because I'm crazy competitive.
Yeah.
I think to be a business owner, you have to be competitive. You have to have that drive that no one's going to beat you. And
So what would you say to somebody who's a new entrepreneur, business owner, doesn't have quite the motivation, mindset that you
honestly,
do?
at the beginning, it is, you have to feed yourself. That's your motivation, right? When
Yeah.
you're first starting, you gotta
Yeah.
eat. So you have to push. But then once you're comfortable, then what pushes you is the
it's a good question because you see it a lot where you start a business, you get you're struggling. You're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to make payroll, all that kind of stuff, and you're pushing hard. And then once you hit a level where you're kind of comfortable, you see a lot of businesses kind of dip.
They let off the gas.
They let off the gas. They don't keep pushing. That drive isn't there anymore.
And you can't necessarily teach somebody to have that mentality. I mean,
I think you're born with it.
Can you? Yeah, right.
I don't think you can teach people.
Yeah, I
No.
mean, hard workers are hard workers.
Right.
And you can read all the books you want about entrepreneurship and business leadership.
You can watch as many Instagram motivational things as you want. I think competitive people are competitive people. I don't know if you can.
I also think it gets to a certain point too where I feel like I've seen other places where they like build their business up and then they like hire employees because they're to that point, but then they stop working and think that their employees are going to run it all for them, and that's not how that works.
Yeah, so like I'm just got done with a book. It's called Buy Back Your Time. He says that your first hire needs to be an assistant to take like your day-to-day, your emails, booking your travel, that kind of stuff off your plate. But the trap is when you hire that person, they take that off your plate, then you think you have free time. You don't have free time. You've got time to build your business. That's the difference. Instead of taking that free time and going to learn to play the guitar, you need to be working on your business, and that needs to be your motivation.
So our next question is kind of says that a lot of people talk about hustle and grind. And what does it mean to you beyond just working harder, which I kind of
I don't love the hustle and grind mindset. I don't love that. For me, it's consistency. And Cozi and I talk about it all the time. When we see a dip in sales, the first thing that we both say is we got to get back to the basics. We have to start doing, making the phone calls, doing the open houses, doing that kind of stuff. That you forget what got you there in the first place, and that's the struggle because you think you're going to get out of that doing the little things right, but you never do because that's what helps you build your business in the first place.
So, what was the biggest mistake you made early on in building homes, and how did it shape the way that you would like tell somebody how to do it now?
Oh, so the biggest mistake I made was not understanding the budgeting, understanding how certain costs work for, because we've talked about it before on this podcast, to where I never framed a house. I'm not a builder. I'm not an actual like hammer swinger. I don't even know any tools.
Wife does.
Choose. And, but so learning how to budget, make a budget, get the pricing down, not sell a house for too cheap, which I've done a few. And just kind of like moving into a new market. It's the same thing. Where we come across those same struggles.
So this is actually, like, speaking of moving into a new market, this question is fun to me because we've done this, and it's actually probably one of my favorite things. You're dropped into a brand new city with zero connections, and you have to start from scratch. What would you do first?
It's my favorite thing. Yeah. I love the guerrilla marketing. Like going door to door, shaking hands, meeting new people, and just people do business with their friends. So if you go, like, the first thing Cozi and I did when we went to Helena, we went to every real estate office. We dropped off cookies, we dropped off coffee. Just meeting new people and making connections in the community is just so much fun. I mean, everybody knows us in our town, so we can't really like go make new friends. I mean, we do, but going to a new place and setting up shop.
So at what point in your business here did you decide, hey, let's go bigger and better now and go outside of Billings?
So the reason we did that, so the city that we live in is roughly around 100,000 people. And our market will only sustain so many houses being built a year. There's only so many buyers. So for us to reach the volume that we wanted to reach, that's when we started looking at other markets to move into. So we could reach that volume, underserved markets that are ready for our product.
The other thing that's pretty funny about it is you think you're going into a new city with like zero connections, right? Like I'd been to Helena for like wrestling tournaments. Mm-hmm. So like it's dark when you get there, you eat at Chili's, you sit in a gym all day. It's dark when you leave, right? So that was all I had ever been in Helena. Montana's like a big small town though, to where it ends up, people. Like I ended up with like a ton of random connections in Helena that I didn't know I had, which I feel like would happen
anywhere. Especially, so we're from Eastern Montana, and we say that anywhere in the world that you go, you can run into somebody.
Yes.
My reasoning is because it's a good place to be from that. And so the first thing that I did is we needed to find an excavator. And then we needed to find a foundation, because that's how you build a house. And I ended up going to school in Sydney, Montana with the foundation guy in Helena. We wrestled together, we traveled together, our parents were good friends. So Cozi's right, you'll always make a connection. There's always ways to make connections.
Yeah, and even like I had started in real estate in Billings, I got hired as an assistant, and she was also this realtor's other assistant. I forgot because I hadn't talked to her in years, but she moved to Helena. So then, like, I knew her. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
It is all about those connections.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. That is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why it's important to be nice to everybody.
Well,
it doesn't cost anything to be nice.
Right. And you're right. It was fun. We went to different real estate offices. We went to the Helena Association of Realtors, and we did like a building with
new construction class.
Yeah. And it's fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And it goes back to our Monster Cody thing, where then you just plaster your name all over it.
Absolutely.
Tag your name all over town. Okay, so there's a lot of noise in real estate and in coaching. How do you cut through it and keep it real with your team and I guess people you're mentoring?
Right.
I really love mentors, but
you need a few. I think it goes back to the basics. I think a lot of people want the fluff. It's the Instagram, YouTube, make $1 million in 2 weeks sort of thing. Where if you go back to the basics, and it goes back to my favorite saying on the planet is, if you do the little things right, you'll do the big things right. That you'll always grow your business. If you just keep doing the same things day in and day out, it's just like fitness. We all, there's those ups and downs, those hills and valleys where if you feel yourself slipping, just get back to the things that got you started in the first place.
So if you're between building houses and building people,
yeah,
what are kind of some of the same things that apply?
I think I think the building houses is very structured. I think, you start with the excavation, you build that good foundation, that's where a good home starts. And I think the same thing starts, and that's why I think 75 Hard is such a great program. Because your foundation is great, you get your workouts in, you get your water in. If you're taking, and you're reading every day, because you always have to be learning. You always have to be, reading your 10 pages a day, listening to your podcast. Building that foundation for your business, for your professional life, is just like building a house. It's the same concept. If your foundation sucks, everything's gonna suck. And what's funny is we do it. Like, I'm in a phase right now of a lot of traveling, playing too many golf tournaments, having too much fun. And my instant reaction is like, okay, I need to do a phase of 75 hard. I need to get back on track. I need to get, my water game on point because I'm a little dehydrated. I need to get those basics in. And the foundation is where everything starts, and that's why you should be in your business too.
So as far as building your business, I don't really love this question. Do you feel like you've had to give anything up personally to get where you're at business wise?
I don't. And it's a huge pet peeve of mine when people are like, well, I'm busy, I've got kids, I'm busy, I've got a wife, I'm busy, I've got these things. Like, I didn't miss a wrestling tournament. I didn't miss a baseball game. I coached everything. I actually built my business on the back of that foundation because of the people that I met, the time. And I think it's an excuse for people, like, oh, I'm busy, I've got kids. Everybody's got kids. Everybody's got the same hurdles. The excuses just don't match. They don't jive. They don't. So I think, especially now, we joke about it all the time. When I started in real estate, we had to get yellow pages added. There was no Facebook. There was no internet. Well, there was internet, but there
Jesus.
But
we wrote on stone tablets.
right.
That's exactly it.
We had spears but like now everybody's mobile. Everything's Zoom meetings and stuff like that. Like, you can build your business while you're busy. It drives me insane.
I think it's asked a lot. So, anything you feel like you want to wrap up with today?
I think the real gratifying part about building a business is the team that you're building. It is the hardest part, but it is the most satisfying and thing that you can selfishly take away from building a business. Like, watching you grow into the business person you're growing into, even though I had to coach you into quitting your job and
That's a
getting
big
into
step to take.
It is a big step, right? And then we've got 3 fantastic project managers they're like family. I stay at Mike's house, that kind of,
You know what else I love about them is they all 3, right? They're in different cities, but they help each other, which I love. Like, if you get the 3 of them in a room, they'll start talking weird shit that I don't understand, but they'll have fantastic ideas for
inside jokes.
Yeah.
So did you, Levi, when you started doing all of this, did you have someone who you would have considered a mentor that kind of helped you be shaped a little bit, or did you just kind of conjure up all of these grand ideas and business plans on your own?
I kind of mixed it and matched it. I would take, my good friend Bob is a great builder, so I would take bits from him, and then I would see what I thought that he was not doing great in his business, but then I would look at a different building company and see what they were doing good, say the marketing, that kind of stuff. I kind of mixed and matched it together. And then I would, we're in Montana, so there's not a lot of, big volume builders. So then I would, look nationwide, and I would see how other companies are building their businesses. And I'm a reader. I've always been, I'm not highly educated. We've talked about this before, but I'm always reading books. I'm reading books on how to grow businesses, about big businesses, and how they built and started. So I think you kind of have to take the good and the bad and filter out that bad and kind of piecemeal it together.
And I think too, neither one of us were good like traditional students. But like I went to college, but not for very long, you know. There's a different, like, right, you read books, but there's also like, you have to, which I did a lot, I know you did a lot, I actually think you would tell me like, hey, listen to how he talks to people. I would like, I worked as a secretary in a property management office. So the property manager, the guy that owned it, I would listen to how he talked to people. I would listen to how, like, if he had someone really upset come in, how he handled it. And that was, I guess, like, my own education that I got was just, like, learning how to talk to people or learning how to handle situations just from watching and paying attention to what people that I...
And I think that's important for younger people or people who want to maybe change directions of their career is, you know, you don't have to get that traditional quote unquote.
Right.
Well, even if you do get that traditional education, even like someone in the medical field, if you're getting trained by a physician, you're learning bedside manner from that person, right? Which is probably...
I think it's a huge thing that I think if you want to get to a certain spot in life, you need to find a person that's there and learn from them. Yeah. And what's great about Instagram and Facebook and YouTube now is you can learn from them and not actually know them. Like you can go to a Gary Vee, he's got a million vlogs that you can go and watch and learn from him and see how if you know, for marketing, for all of that. And if you want to learn how to build a business, you can go watch Andy Frisella. You don't actually have to know these people to learn from them and how they talk and how they present their ideas. I do also think it can be negative. You can get into a bad spot if you pick the wrong person that you're trying to follow. That doesn't, you know, I think you could also find it real comforting. Like if you're starting a business and then, this person only works 10 hours a week and they present this Instagram lifestyle that...
You're like, I only want to work 10 hours a week.
You see that a lot in real estate where people watch HGTV or something, you know, be a real estate agent and you work 20 hours a week and you make all this money. And it's all a facade in the Instagram world. To where it's not, building a business is not easy, but it's super gratifying. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's the most gratifying thing that you can.
We also joke constantly, like, about, like, the stress, right? You'll see someone, like, drunk sitting on the street.
Right.
Like, they have no stress.
They have no stress.
Well, it's not bad. They have a different stress.
Yeah. It gets back to that can you build stress.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, you have to have that realistic expectation where it's going to be hard work and nonstop.
And stressful.
But clearly you still are able to carve out those times where you're satisfying yourself. And
absolutely. When your wife makes you go on a trip that you don't want to go on. And I know. But I do think for like younger people starting out in the business, it's the best time to start. You have so many resources, so many options out there, and you're young. You can fail and start over and do all of those things. So I think that there's just so many opportunities now to start a business and build your brand, which I think is really lacking. There's not a knowledge enough about building a brand that there is building a business. We see it all the time. Other builders start and like copy our model, but they're never even close to as good as we are because they don't understand that we're not building houses. Anybody can build a house. Anybody can build one house or 5 spec houses. We're building a brand. We're building, you know, that's why we have the podcast. That's why we do the customer appreciation parties. That's why we do these things and how we market. Everything is laid out. And how we treat our subcontractors, how we treat our employees. All of that is mapped out for the end goal of building a brand where we don't have to advertise. People just call us because the good word of mouth, all of, you know, in that you're seeing us, you're seeing us as friendly, fun people to work with. And that's the difference between building a spec house and building an.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a perfect ending to our building a business.
We'll end that right there.
We're built different.
We are built different. That's for sure. Thanks, guys.